Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Between the Melodies, a podcast series all about music, diving right behind the scenes with studio stories or discussing how artists navigate their own path, all the way to some industry insights with record labels and A&Rs. So hopefully, for those of you watching or listening, we'll be able to gain something which helps you navigate your own path. Today, I'm really excited to say that we're joined by an artist all the way from Germany, who's known for his signature summer nostalgia sound, blending feel-good summer vibes with a nostalgic touch that has resonated with listeners all over the world. You might have heard his releases like Higher, Walking in the Rain, and earlier in 2025, released a collaboration with BN called All I Need. He's also very much present on YouTube, where millions tune into his DJ mixes, and have had sold out solo tours in Kenya, North and South America. So yeah, if you've been following either of us, you may have seen that I've made a remix for a few of his songs. And yeah, I'm super happy that he's here today. Welcome, Nick, or better known as Rammor.
Thank you so much for the intro. Damn, what an intro. Thanks for having me.
To kick things off, I think let's start with some quick fire questions. So I've got 5 questions here that will hopefully help us to get a better understanding of who Rammor is.
Sure.
So yeah, for the first one, what would you think be the one element in a song that makes it a signature Rammor production?
Oh, damn. So I think if you listen to a Rammor song, I think you can feel or hear that it's a Rammor song without being able to point to one element. But what I would actually say, which is like most people probably don't notice, but I always use like the same effects, the same like sweeps, the same like cymbals and stuff like in the background, which was just out of like laziness. I copied them from past projects forward and forward. So these are like staying like basically the same throughout every genre, every song. So I would say basically like the effects you can't really hear, but you can like feel or when they're like missing.
So do you like export maybe your samples and then reuse them in your other productions, right?
Oh yeah, I'm like so lazy building like a song from ground up every time. So I basically love if I'm having like a song I know the direction of I want to go. I basically go into like a past project. I know I had like a similar vibe, a similar genre in a way, and like I steal the drums, I steal like the pianos. Like it's on one hand it works in the favor of like building like a signature sound in a way, but in the other hand you're also kind of stuck in like the same over again. But I would really love to like steal from my old project. So yeah, I maybe need to freshen it up a bit.
Similar to the previous question, so what you think would be your go-to plugin when making music?
I mean, good question. So I really love using Contact a lot with like the different libraries, because it's just like real instrument sampled. In my songs, I'd say I don't have like too many or like not too many prominent synths or something, but more like guitars, pianos, strings, and everything. So I think Contact, like instrument wise, like a good bet for that. But I recently, also like for a couple of years now, I really used Ozone a lot on my masters. Even if I'm still sending it to like a mastering engineer, I'm still using like Ozone on every song like crazy.
And I know you do both music production and DJing, but which one do you think you prefer?
It really depends, because I think the DJing really started out of like necessity, being able to like perform my own music in a way, because there's like no real other way for me. There are times where I like just enjoy being at home a couple of weeks and like not DJing, but like once I'm on tour, I'm like all into and I love it. But I always have to be convinced a bit, because I also still get like regular panic attacks and shit before a show. So yeah, it's like a little tricky, because I love both parts in a way. But if I would need to choose, probably like the music production side, because it's just, you can work on music alone in your room. Basically, nobody's bothering you, nobody's looking at you. So yeah, I'd say music production.
Yeah, I think it's really a whole package, because I think it's really cool to be able to play your own music as well. So yeah,
100%.
Next question. So, what's your favorite hobby or just anything that you like to do outside of music?
Yeah, so music basically dictates my whole life. So I really like stopped a lot of hobbies once I turned
Mhm.
full-time music. But I really have like a affinity for like plants, which is so weird, I know, but I got like 100 potted plants in my apartment and I got like palm trees and shit in my garden. So I really love plants, which just gives like a good vibe in like the apartment. And I usually don't have too many hobbies these days, which is like a little pathetic, I guess. But like music, it's just like working so much. It just like takes so much time, and it really got the backseat, all the hobbies. I used to play football, driving like skateboard and shit, and go skiing in the winter and stuff. But right now I'm not doing a lot of that, but I'm getting a little better in actually taking a little free time and not working every day until night. So
Yeah, that's
we're
good. Yeah,
getting there.
cool. And the last question is, where would you recommend people to visit in your home country or your hometown?
So I don't know. For me, Germany is like very boring because
Oh,
I grew up here. So I don't know if there's like too many cool places I would recommend, but there's like of course crazy places in Germany. I'm from Bavaria, like the state from like the Oktoberfest. You probably know.
yeah.
So yeah, in Bavaria there are like a lot of cool places, a lot of cool nature and lakes and stuff. So probably like around Munich is like it's
Mhm.
like a cool place. But like I'm in the middle of nowhere, so there's nothing there. Don't visit.
Yeah, but I think it serves a sort of a great backdrop to some of your sets, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like this helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. And to now dive deeper, I think we have to start with your sound because, like I mentioned before, Rammor has such a strong sort of signature sound or branding, if you will.
Hmm.
So how do you go about finding your signature sound, and when did you feel like this is the right direction that you want to take for your project?
So I think like generally it all came very naturally. I when I initially started music, I was going more into like progressive house club music, I guess, like very inspired by like Martin Garrix and stuff. But throughout the years, I really like got more into Kygo and those frequencies and stuff. And like around 2019 something, I started doing like chill house, which then like really like kicked things off in a way on Spotify for me. So it felt like a good way to dive deeper. And like I think the nature of chill house a lot of times is like it really dove into like that summer vibe. And then especially when like COVID hit, I was doing a lot of music, and I was really like craving like tropical holidays in a way, although I've never like really been. So I just started doing like a lot of summer vibe music, and it just came like very natural to me. It fitted very well, and especially maybe because there's like such a contrast in Germany with like, okay, in the summer it can get hot and everything, but in the winter it's like so depressing. So it maybe like a good contrast in like having like a very uplifting summer themed music compared to like the cold outside, I guess. And it resonated well enough. So I started developing more on that. And I don't know, it just came like very natural. It's always something I was into, always from like the people I looked up to. And just building from there. And then also, as you mentioned, like the YouTube DJ mixes, as I started them during COVID, the backdrop's always been like those like summer fields and sunsets, and this paired even better with that. And then it just like came very naturally, and now it's kind of like a signature sound in a way, I would say. And I definitely want to like keep on doing that. Not that I'm like not like also trying other things and like maybe like going outside the lane from time to time, but I think this is definitely a big strength of mine to have like a sound people can maybe recognize instantly or like relate to in a way.
Yeah, and I think like you mentioned earlier as well, it's not really just one element. It's sort of the whole thing that really makes it like a Rammor production. Yeah, so that's really cool. I think how long have you been producing for?
I think I started around like 2017, 18, probably 2018, when like a friend of mine got like a launch pad, like the thing where you can trigger like the samples. And I initially didn't have like enough money to get the same one, so I got like a cheaper one where there weren't like any templates and stuff, but it came with a free version of Ableton, and so I was kind of forced to learn Ableton. And then so I slowly got into like the side of like how Ableton works, and then like how this launch drum pad thingy worked, and then it slowly built from there. So I probably did like music for like 1.5, 2 years, like just for fun, and then I decided to take it more seriously and like dedicated way more time, way more free time to it. I was still working like a regular 9 to 5. And I think it really I really started taking it very, very seriously around 2020. And then COVID hit, and then like I did the sets, and then like everything started going from there.
Yeah, I think COVID was like a big catalyst for a lot of people, especially I've seen it with music. So yeah, that's really cool. And I think trying to find your signature sound is super important, particularly nowadays when there's so much music out there. Like every day on Spotify, I think there's so much music being uploaded. And I think now I just wanted to touch upon something that a lot of aspiring artists or even seasoned producers often find, which is writer's block. So I'm just curious, like, what is your approach when you try to start a new song? Like, how do you get inspired for those?
Yeah, it's like very different from song to song, like the most unsatisfying answer ever. Like, it depends. But for me, there's like different ways to start a song. Like, there's mostly two ways. Like, either I'm getting like sent a vocal or like a demo, and if I really like it, I can instantly like picture the whole song in my head and like know in what direction I can take it and like what I want to do with it. So this like really helps, like listening to a lot of demos. But it's also like a luxury not a lot of producers get, like getting sent vocals. And for me, it also very depends. Like sometimes I'm getting sent a lot, and then there's like months I'm getting sent nothing. So I usually love to do a little dedicated writing camp with my friends, which I do a lot of songs with. Like basically almost all of these songs over there like have them involved. So usually we're gonna like meet up for a couple days, and I'm just coming with a bunch of like reference songs, a bunch of inspiration, and we just like jam around a bit until something comes out of it. And because we're doing music for so long now, especially with John Skyfield and Shael, it really like, I don't know, like they know what I'm looking for, I know their strength, and then we can like play together and like build from there. And so inspiration wise, where to get inspiration, for me it's most of the time at like very different places. Like on one hand listening to a lot of music, but also listening to a lot of music outside your genre. So recently, and it's like a very weird thing, I really got into the Beatles. So I'm like when I'm producing music and I need like a little break, I pull up like a Beatles documentary on the screen, and I just watch like 10 minutes of that, and then like I'm doing music again and stuff. For me, I love watching like artist documentaries. Like there's a very good docu-series of like Ed Sheeran. The Chainsmokers have a crazy documentary. There's like stuff from John Summit from Kygo. There's like good Billie Eilish docu, like Karol G. There's like a lot of artists that you probably wouldn't like connect with my style, my music, but I'm getting very inspired by like watching their documentary, their behind the scenes and everything. So you just get like different views on how to approach music, and this most of the times inspires me more than like listening to the songs in like the same genre in the same style.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take actually, because I mean, you always spend so much time just listening to your own stuff over and over. So
Oh yeah,
doing something very different, I think, is a nice way to get inspired. Cool.
100%.
Okay, now another really big aspect of what you do is obviously your live sets. I mean, not only like your shows, but those where you actually go to different locations and record like your summer nostalgia type sets. I think it forms a really big part of your artist brand, and I think one of the reasons why it has helped you to reach such a huge fan base. So, how important do you think like social media is nowadays, and what is your approach in trying to grow an audience on these platforms?
Yeah, so for me, social media is a little bit of like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
On one hand, it can give you like crazy opportunity and help you a lot connecting with fans directly, but on the other hand, I think it like kind of removes the art aspect of music a little, with like everybody just trying to please like the algorithm in a way and just like to game the system. So at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of stuff is getting made just to like work on TikTok, work on Instagram, rather than like actually caring about the music, which is a little bit of a shame. So for me, social media is like, it on one hand enabled like my career, mostly through YouTube, which I think has still like a different watching habit than like the other platforms, because it was all everything was through like long time YouTube. It was not just like the quick bite-sized short stuff. But yeah, on one hand, it like enabled my career, but on the other hand, it kind of forces you to play the game, although you don't want to. It makes creating music really hard, because you always like have to kind of think about, okay, how does it work on TikTok? Will it work on TikTok? And for the most part, my songs don't. So, but I still like grew like a very dedicated fan base, which made it possible to like live off my music so far. So yeah, it's really like an interesting relationship, because on one hand you have to play into, but on the other hand you want to like keep out of that as much as possible, just to do the music you like. Because at the end of the day, I think when looking back, you're not happy if you're like, okay, I spent the last 5 years chasing like some algorithm, whatever, which is constantly changing. But you much more look back into like songs you love making, and like stories you connect with the songs. Because I also have like a bunch of songs here where I would have like stories for days, because I just connect so much with them. But I also have like a couple which were like, yeah, okay, I'm just doing them maybe to work on TikTok, and then they're like forgettable in a way. And if you're like not remembering any fond memories with the song, how should the fans? Like if you're not, if the song is like whatever for you, why should the fans care? So I think like the most cliche answer you can get is like, do music for you first, and then find the right audience for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I make music, I guess I don't really think about the social media aspect much, and I just, if the melody sounds good, if I like it, I do it. But you can't deny that I think social media is a big part of it now, especially nowadays. So yeah, there's this relationship that I think you have to manage well. So yeah, but I mean, I think it works for some genres more than others. So again,
that's the thing,
you can't really help with that. And okay, the next topic I think I want to touch upon is that you release a lot of music yourself. So even like from the artworks or the administration stuff, or even the tours. I mean, a lot of it is done by you, or maybe like your team. So what does a typical day in the life of Rammor look like, and how do you manage all these different things that go into your music?
So surprisingly, my day today is super fucking boring. It mostly consists of like regular office work, regular like administration business stuff. And the least I'm doing actually is making music, which is a shame. But yeah, the day to day on a regular day when I'm at home is literally okay. I'm waking up, making breakfast, going into like the office until like 5 p.m. and then I'm leaving. Like sometimes I'm working at late at night, but it's usually just administrative organization work, planning the tours, planning the shows and everything. The least I'm doing is music, which I really want to change, especially now in like the coming weeks. I recently came home from a US and Canada tour, and I really noticed, okay, this tour has taken up like all of my time for the last month, like the organization, the visas, everything. It's just like been nonstop just a tour. And I was like, afterwards, damn, like I don't have like any new music for like the next months or whatever. So I really started doing a lot more studio time. Like I started blocking myself like at least the morning just for dedicated studio. I'm lucky enough to have like a dedicated office and like next door a dedicated studio. So it's also like split room wise, which helps me a lot in my headspace. With like, okay, in this room I'm only doing office, I'm only doing like video editing and everything, and the studio I'm only doing music, like no exception. I rarely take like calls in there or whatever, like don't do any office stuff, only music. So yeah, this is my life at home is super boring in a way, because especially if you only know like the social media side. But on the contrary, while I'm on tour, of course it gets crazy, but crazy in like other terms. It's not like partying all day, it's basically like not sleeping all day, traveling a lot, and then having a show, going from the show directly back to the hotel, sleeping for like 3 hours, then taking a flight. So it's another type of crazy, which, then I really love slow life at home, because if you're having like 3 weeks of craziness, basically on tour, coming home and there's like nothing happening, like literally nothing. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Germany. There's nothing happening. That's the best. Like going from like New York, LA, whatever, Bangkok, crazy, to like nowhere in Germany. The best. Like, I don't know, the contrast is crazy, but I love it.
Yeah, I think one of the best, I guess, upsides of doing stuff independently is because you can make all the decisions yourself, and so you're in control of a lot of that. But then again, like as you mentioned, you have to do a lot of that sort of boring office work that goes along with it. And just relating on to that, what do you think it takes to sustain this music thing as a full-time job?
Yeah, so it's like ever changing, I guess. For me, it was like a combination of things. So on one hand, I'm not reliant on live gigs. So this was like very important for me, because I started like taking it very seriously and like it taking off during COVID. So I was like, okay, like if you're 100% reliant on live gigs, then if there's like some major event, it can really like destroy everything. So for me, it was always important not relying on that. I had like different projects besides Rammor in like, let's say, the background. It's not really like a secret, but like I have like different artist projects as well. They really help sustaining my income, my career, because for me it was always very important for Rammor, especially when like focusing on like the art side of things, not to be in like a constant monetary struggle, not worrying about how to pay the bills, because then like it's very hard to create art that's like meaningful to you, I guess, because you always have to look at the money side of things. And for a while I was also very like lucky with that, because I got signed to like a major label, and of course like all the Rammor stuff was funded then, and I didn't have to pay for anything. I got like my advance and shit. But on the other hand, of course, there were like a ton of people like talking into the song, and I also had like a bunch of songs that I think would have been way better if I would have just had like 100% creative control. But also there are a couple of songs that I think that were better, because like other people were telling me like, yo, maybe have a look into that again, like maybe change this section. So yeah, I think like that's like a balance you have to strike in a way, but I'm also very happy to be fully independent again. It's like a blessing because I can like go crazy, can do whatever I want, but also it's a little hard because you don't have anybody giving you deadlines, you don't have anybody giving you like guidance or whatever, so you kind of have to force yourself to finish songs. And I got a couple of songs that like got delayed like months and months and months, just because I just couldn't get like the last 1% perfect in a way. And then like they got like delayed like half a year because there was nobody else telling me like, yo, you need to stop, this is fine. So yeah, I mean, for me right now, as Spotify, YouTube, everything is changing, it's really hard. I'm struggling a lot, like upkeeping the regular income stream. So I definitely would advise everybody to not be reliant 100% on one platform, like try to diversify as much as possible. And especially now with the ever grueling like rise of AI and everything, making yourself stand out as much as possible, growing real fans, not just chasing numbers. That's why I'm also like pushing so hard on the tours and the live aspect of things, because I think that's one thing that like an AI or whatever can never replace, because numbers don't mean anything anymore. In a way, they get like inflated like crazy. A stream isn't paying anything basically, so having like one real fan equals like I don't know how many like thousands and or millions of streams. You need to like support you in a way, and like focusing on the fan side, on the human side more than on like the number side, I think will go a long way.
Yeah, I think because there's a lot of music producers out there who would love to you know to be able to live off this full time, but obviously just relying on Spotify, for example, or streaming is definitely not enough. So you have to sort of branch out, I guess. So you know, I know you do a lot of other things, not just you know focusing on the song. So your live sets, your tours and everything. So I think it's a mixed bag of things that happen.
100%.
Yeah.
But also I think like I personally did music on the side for like years with like still working like a full-time job. And I mean, looking back at it, I always wanted to go full-time, but if you're doing your hobby as like your full-time job, it's not as fun anymore as it used to be. So there's also like a good side of doing music on the side and not being reliant on it.
Yeah, definitely. One last thing, which again I think is quite unique to you, since you organize a lot of things yourself. And I mean, a lot of artists would love to be able to do you know the different shows you have in different countries all over the world. But as I'm sure you know, it is a very big challenge. So I just you know would like to know what you know have been some of the biggest challenges you had to overcome when planning and organizing a tour like the one you have done like in North America, for example.
Okay, yeah. So touring for me is like a very crazy thing to be able to do in the first place. With a lot of my fans, I built throughout YouTube, throughout social media, and so you can get a very good understanding of where your fans are located. And yeah, for that, I just couldn't rely on like external bookings alone. I get. So because like if I'm getting like external bookings, they're either like somewhere very random where I don't have like any fans, like such events that don't fit the brand. Like there's so many different factors that like already like went wrong with like external bookings. I was like in clubs that didn't make any sense for me. Were like at events that were like completely different music, and yeah, so many things that like didn't work out. And so I was like, okay, why we're not organizing the tours ourselves, basically booking the venues, booking the club, organizing the travel, organizing the other DJs, and basically doing the show on our own. And oh boy, this is the stupidest idea you can do. Like it's so much work. And yeah, the hardest part by far is getting a foot in the door, like getting a club to agree, basically being rented out by you, is like a crazy task. I didn't know was so hard, because we tried so many times, and like people don't give a shit about your numbers until you can prove that you can sell tickets. But you can't prove that you can sell tickets if you're not getting like the club. So for me, I think like the changing factor was when I organized my first show in Kenya, or like a first tour, because I was in Kenya 2 times before as like an external booking, and it worked really well. And then I was like, okay, why not doing a tour myself, like going to different places? And everybody said to me, don't do it, like it's a stupid idea, it won't work out. But in my mind it was like, it's probably be fine. I'll probably be fine. So why not doing it? And then like I got a small local team, and we pulled off the tour, and it was a crazy success. All the shows were sold out, and everybody was telling me like, don't do it. So then I was like, okay, I have to commit 100%. And for me, South America was like a big goal for a long time, because I got a huge fan base there, but it's so hard to get a foot in the door. And there's also like a little bit of like a language barrier with mostly Spanish and like the Portuguese in Brazil. And so it was so hard to, get a show there, basically. I didn't have like any external booking interest from that side at all. And so I recently got connected to like a booking agent throughout a friend. And then I was talking to him, and he was like, yeah, where's your biggest fan base? I'm like, a lot is like in South America. And he was like, okay, I don't have like any connections there, but maybe we can pull it off. And like, he actually got one club in, I don't know which was first, like either it was Mexico or Colombia. We got like one club that agreed to be rented out by us. And this made it easier for us to go to other clubs in other countries and saying, yo, Rammor's coming to Colombia, Rammor's coming to Mexico. Why not? Why don't we rent out this club in Buenos Aires, Argentina? Or like, why not? Like, why can't we rent this club in Chile as well? So actually securing like one venue made it like way easier to secure the other venues. And then like this first South America tour was like very do-it-yourself. It was crazy expensive. I lost a lot of money, although the shows themselves were every show was almost sold out. So it was like, I still lost crazy money because the travel was just so expensive, but it was like a proof of concept that we can pull it off. So we thought, okay, why not going bigger next time? We planned like full the Americas tour with like North and South America for March 2025. But this proved like a little bit more challenging than anticipated, because the US visa was like a hard one to get, because I wouldn't be allowed to earn money in the US. And if I'm like DJing, I would earn money. And with the other countries, it was like a little bit easier, but in the US, it was like so hard. And we applied for the visa and everything. And like shortly before the tour was set to embark, they didn't deny it, but they asked for further evidence to like supporting my case or whatever. And then it dragged out for a couple months. And then we actually had to postpone the whole US and Canada part of this tour to September 2025, because it was just so interconnected. It wouldn't make sense to do the Canada part as well. And so we just did the Latin America part. And learning from the previous tour, we could like get better venues, like build on that, have like smarter plane connections, because in the first tour we basically flew like on the top to the bottom to the top to the, like it was so stupid. But like this time we could actually get like a more decent plane route. We could like get more decent hotels. We knew a lot more about like the local culture, about like the club culture and everything, about the people. And like this tour turned out to be a crazy success from my side. It still didn't turn a profit because it was so expensive to run, but it was like one step further of like, okay, we can really pull this off. And then now with the recent US and Canada tour, it was also so nice to finally be able to come to those countries, because there were a lot of people. I have like a huge fan base in the US that is like that travel to other places. I got like a bunch of fans that travel to shows in Mexico because I didn't do like a US show. They travel to shows in like London and everything because I didn't have like a US show. And for the US especially, it was like like a very different kind of experience for myself, because in those like other Latin American countries, I always came to like the metropolitan areas. Like in Colombia, I came to Bogota. In Mexico, I came to Mexico City, and like all these like metropolitan areas where people travel to. There were like a bunch of people like from Venezuela coming in, from Guatemala coming in, because I didn't have show there, but it was like relatively easy for them to come in. In the US, it was a little different because there weren't like a lot of people traveling for shows. So I kind of have to do multiple shows in the US to make it worth it. And so we did like 3 US shows and 2 Canada shows. There were still people traveling from city to city, but not as common as like the South America ones, for example. And I think this is always like the interesting part, because like for shows, every country is a little bit unique in a way. Like they all have their unique culture, and just being able to do a tour to get like all that knowledge is very valuable for the next time. And although I lost a lot of money throughout these tours, and holy shit, this is the most stupid idea financially you can do, it was just a very good experience, like gaining knowledge, gaining connections, gaining the experience, and of course like the proof of concept to show to other promoters, to festivals, hey, look, we pulled it off ourselves. We can do that, and if we're working together, we can make it even bigger. And I recently started planning another tour for next year, and for this one we want to go a little bigger, a little better, maybe get different partners on board. And yeah, you just have to, if nobody else is doing it for you, you have to do it yourself in a way. It's a lot of risk, but I think for me personally, it's the only way going forward that sets you apart.
Yeah, I think you have to start somewhere. So like you said, doing these tours, it's definitely a really good proof of concept, and it really builds for the future as well. So
100%.
yeah, must be a really crazy experience. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, this has been really awesome. And to round things off, we're just gonna have a short sort of shout out section. Sorry to put you on the spot for this, but we've got 3 different spots. So for the first one, who would you say is like a rising star in the scene from your perspective, or your sound?
A rising star. I think for me personally, you could really see how Bund is really exploding throughout like the electronic scene, with like his song Cloud starting off, and then he also did like a bunch of like pop-up one-off shows, and now he's doing like crazy tours, and he's also like a German guy. So I think like seeing him like go crazy is insane, because I knew his music for a long time before he like popped off, and this is like on a crazy other level. Like he exploded like crazy, and he kind of is like redefining the live show space with like his in the round tours and like his boiler room type sets, and it's just crazy to watch.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of patterns with these new artists emerging. I think that's really cool because they all bring something like a different sound to the overall scene as well.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the second one, maybe could you name a unique act you've seen recently? So maybe someone who's releasing music with a sound you never really heard before, or someone who's doing a really cool live set.
So I'm actually not going to too many concerts because I'm so occupied, but I've been to like a Martin Garrix show in London in August. This was actually crazy. Bund was also playing, so it ties in perfectly together. And tomorrow I'm actually seeing DJ Snake in London as well. So
wow.
Yeah, this is I'm super excited for that. I always want to see Snake again. Like I watched him in like the Boat House for like a club set in like 2021 or something, and then on like Ultra Festival, but never actually been to the full-on show of his. But I think my all-time favorite live act are like the Chainsmokers.
Yeah, definitely. Really cool music from them. Yeah. And the last one, who would you like to see on this podcast series? So, someone to share their stories and experiences.
I think like I don't know, like I think just love to hear stories from everybody around the industry, being it like songwriters, being it artists, being like A&Rs. So like whoever you can get with like an interesting story is perfect.
Yeah, I think this was sort of the main motivation behind it, just to share different perspective from different people in the industry. So yeah, we'll try to see who we can get on the show next. So yeah.
Perfect.
And just before you go, let's give your fans a little glimpse of what you have in store for them. So what does Rammor have in 2026? Is there anything that we can share?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on my first ever album for 2026. I definitely want to create like a full-on top to bottom piece of art in a way that's like cohesive throughout, with like everything surrounding it visually, merchandise, everything that like tells one story. I always love to do that, and now that I'm independent, I'm actually can. So initially it was planned for this year, but I just didn't have the time with all the touring and everything. But I'm definitely releasing an album in 2020.
Yeah, all I can say there is good luck. Looking forward to listen to the album. Yeah, so
100%. Thank you.
that we had a great time here, I think, and I think there's lots of insight people can take from it. So
Hopefully.
again, thank you for coming, and I'll see everyone in the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.